From emails to reports and project proposals, it's hard to meet the demands of today's competing priorities without some help. Grammarly is the essential AI communication assistant that boosts your productivity at work so you can get more of what you need done faster. Just a few clicks can tailor your tone and writing so you come across exactly as you intend. Get time back to focus on your high-impact work. Download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That's grammarly.com/podcast.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board here on a Monday. We're live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Busy hour lined up, 15 minutes. We'll go over some more of these conference tournament odds and the paths that these teams have to actually make a deep run. Going to be tough in some of the power conferences, obviously. Lou Finocchairo, really bad beat over the weekend. Some NHL plays tonight from him as well. And today, Pauly, as well, day one of free agency in the NFL. And because of what happened on Friday, going back to the very tail end of our show, in fact, it ended, and then, look at this magical news happening at that time when Geno Smith was traded from Seattle to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a third-round pick. Okay. Based on that move, well, Seattle had to go out and get a quarterback at some point because Sam Howell was the only guy in the roster. So you can't possibly trot him out there next year. They signed Sam Darnold to a quarterback, the quarterback today, to a deal. 3 years, $110 million, 55 of it is guaranteed. So it kind of breaks down to like a 2-year deal overall. It's a lot of money.
Tough sell. Can't believe it. I don't understand what they're doing here. So you said you made the case earlier, more of a run-oriented team. You let DK go. Pittsburgh acquires him for the second-round pick and give him all that money with the extension. But that's, oh boy. You were so close the last 2 years and had a good team. You were one play away from making the playoffs. And now it's Darnold and Metcalf's gone and Lockett's gone. And yes, you have good running backs, but also Walker hasn't been able to stay healthy. Can you protect Sam? And also, the defense came on down the stretch. McDonald did a nice job. But what's that going to look like as well? But first things first, you have to give him some weapons and some pieces, even though you're armed with some picks.
Yeah, so I think the angle here would be, JSN is going to be taken probably very, very high next year, like in fantasy drafts. And I can't wait to see what some of his props are going to look like because he will be by far and away the number one target in that offense.
He also had plenty of weapons in Minnesota with a great coach. And then it ended. It was horrible how it ended.
Sure. I think this team potentially has a chance to be a really good under team next year. Kubiak's the new offensive coordinator. He was with Sam Darnold when Darnold was backing up Brock Purdy in San Francisco. And you know how much Shanahan and those teams love to run the football. I think with no more Metcalf, no more Lockett, and Walker and Charbonnet as your running backs, they will address the offensive line to make sure Darnold is going to have plenty of time to throw, and the pressure rate will not help him out. So they'll address the offensive line, in my opinion, and this is going to, and by the way, McDonald was already turning this defense into a really, really strong unit next year as a defensive guy. The defense will only get better. They're going to be a running team. I would look to play unders with Seattle right away to begin the season next year. That's how I would approach them. And then with Metcalf going to Pittsburgh and Justin Fields today signing with the Jets, two things there. So Fields is going to be the Jets starting quarterback as of this minute. $20 million per year for him. But the Steelers aren't possibly going to bring back Russell Wilson, right? So the rumors were out there today. They turned their attention to Aaron Rodgers.
That's going to be the guy, too. And there's a reason he was 2-1 at DK to go to Pittsburgh. Because you can't, you're right. If you pass on Rodgers, these guys are going to lose their minds, Pickens and Metcalf, if you have a below average quarterback and a guy that can't get him the ball, or at least isn't proven and can't throw it. That's why the stuff like, there's no way it was going to be Fields, because Fields wasn't going to be the starting quarterback once you committed all that money and gave up the pick to get Metcalf.
Right.
So good luck with it. Again, they win every year. I like the move. I think it's great for the league, but I don't have a problem if they're able to get Rodgers, and I think it's the best available with what you have to choose from.
What if they don't get him?
Then they're in trouble.
Do they go...
I don't know what they're going to do.
Daniel Jones?
I don't know. I would think Minnesota has to keep him now.
That's kind of what I would think.
Yeah, right. Jones and O'Connell has to be confident he can win with anybody at this point and go dimes until McCarthy's ready.
I honestly, and then, by the way, so if Rodgers doesn't agree with Pittsburgh and vice versa here, I have no idea what their next possible move would be. And then what is next for Aaron Rodgers? Does he go to the Giants?
Yeah.
Does he call it quits?
Why would he do that, though? The reports are that there's interest from both sides on the Giants. That's just, with that offensive line.
It's not going to end well. It's not going to go well at all.
No, come on. No.
So anyway, there is one. I'm looking right now at Pro Football Focus. They are grading all of the moves that happened today on day one of free agency. So far, from scanning this link, they have given one move a grade of elite, as they called it. And it happened since we came on the air. And that was a deal between the Houston Texans and the Washington Commanders, as 5-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman Laramie Tunsil has been traded to Washington, a PFF grade last year of 76.5. And as I said, they called it elite. And they just talked about basically in his career how he is one of the most valuable and one of the best offensive linemen in the entire sport. So really, really good move there from Washington.
The Bears also got Jarrett. Grady Jarrett.
To go along with the moves that they made on the offensive line.
Yes.
So we're talking about a brand new unit up front for the Chicago Bears. And that actually, if Ashton Genty is there when they pick in the first round, I'm not so sure he's going to slide by them. I don't think he's going to be there at number 12 for the Dallas Cowboys.
Are you there that Washington is close with Philly now?
Well, because
with all the moves they made, and Philly's lost a lot of people.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think you have to say yes, right? I mean, although they got buried in the NFC title game, they did beat them late in the season.
They turned the ball over a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Weren't going to stop them, though.
How about that, though? They turned it over 5 times in the game, and they still won. But that's year one of Jaden Daniels.
I was also talking about the NFC title game.
Oh, yeah. With Kingsbury.
Yep.
And also Dan Quinn, and that defense can only, I think, get better.
Yeah.
So you're talking about some of those, some of the guys now who left Philadelphia. Josh Sweat to Arizona, which I really like that deal. Of course, Gannon, the former DC of Philadelphia, so he's going to reunite there. You could argue that Josh Sweat was like the MVP of the Super Bowl for the first half. He was so good, and he was all over Mahomes the entire time. They also lost Milton Williams. He went to the Patriots. So that's a couple of guys now no longer on Philly's defense for next year.
Yep.
And I think a team like Washington has inched closer to that team, and I certainly think the Rams are right there with them.
Damn right. Let's do Cold Stone ice cream. Like it, love it. Like it, love it, hate it. Love what the Rams did. Again, you get Adams in the offseason they've had, and the numbers come down to 20-1 to win the Super Bowl. That's a great move. I like what the Raiders did.
I think it should be lower than that.
True. And I'm with you on to win the division. They should be the favorites. Like that the Raiders got Geno Smith.
Yeah, me too.
Landry to the Patriots. A good move. Stanley stays with Baltimore.
Yeah.
I like this sneaky. Kirk to Houston.
That's pretty good.
That's not a bad move either. I like that. Naomi Brown went to Jacksonville.
Was that a 1-year deal, I think?
Yeah, for up to $12 million.
That's like a bargain to me.
Yep. And Palmer to the Bills to also tie into Allen doing his deal and helping them out as well. And that the Bills have him locked up for a long time now. And that's the right move to make, as you just see all these contracts are going to continue to go up, and up for what these quarterbacks are going to get. And that's a great move by the Bills. And I like that Palmer's another weapon for Allen, too, much needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate what the Browns did. It was easy. He was giving you an out. I want to be traded. I don't want to be here anymore. So then, get a haul for him, get the picks, draft a quarterback, and rebuild, blow the thing up. Watson's off the books in a couple years. Well, at least 2 years left. Then you move on from him entirely, and you're good, and you can get away from that monstrosity hanging over your neck. So that albatross. So that's awesome. But then you come back the other way after I want out. I can't do this. I don't want to be here. He wants a meeting with Haslam. Haslam tells him no. Talk to Barry. Then the Crosby contract happens, and then bam. Then they go out and give him the highest contract ever for a non-quarterback.
Right. You know what that's going to do? That's going to stick it to one of their division rivals, because the Bengals have already said they want to give Chase the most money ever for a non-quarterback.
It goes back to what I said earlier. Why are you waiting? Sure. It's costing you so much money.
Yes,
Cowboys do nothing. And then when they have a good player, they won't lock him up. It takes forever. They wait too long, and then they got to overpay. It's going to happen again with Parsons, and then Cincinnati screws around all the time.
That's right. So I'll give you a couple of other, maybe not, well, Call it sneaky, call it what you want. But Carlton Davis signing a 3-year deal with New England to team up with Christian Gonzalez, that is automatically one of the best cornerback duos in the entire league. I love that deal for the Patriots. And I think what the Buccaneers did today, too. Chris Godwin evidently turned down millions of dollars to go to a different team. And he stayed in Tampa Bay, 3 years, $66 million, so they can run it back with Baker Mayfield. That offense is going to be elite again next year. And now, assuming the guy's actually going to go out there and play, they also signed defensive lineman Hassan Reddick to a 1-year, $14 million deal.
Yep.
They are the class of that division, and so if they can stay healthy, the Buccaneers will be a playoff team and probably a threat in the NFC next year. They're good. And Mayfield is a hell of a quarterback. And it's funny the way it has worked out now where Mayfield and Sam Darnold, taken in the same draft, played on the same team with Carolina not that long ago. Mm-hmm. Their paths are kind of like similar at this point. Darnold going down that Baker Mayfield path anyway.
Great point.
The Geno Smith thing, they're not going to win a Super Bowl. But that, again, the building blocks here for the Raiders in place with Pete Carroll as the head coach. So this is not to win now, but with Brady now as the minority owner and you get Carroll as the head coach and Geno Smith in as a stable quarterback at 35 years old, I think this team, it sets up to be in a good spot in 2 or 3 years down the road is what we're talking about with the Raiders. And then they can be more competitive in that division, a playoff team, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Want to know where the money's going? Only VSiN gives you betting splits from Circa and DK. Unlike other sources, our data comes directly from the books, showing where the sharp action lands. Circa takes big bets from pros, as Nick Bogdanovich just told you, while DraftKings offers a broader market view, giving you insights in the wagers that move lines. See the percentage of bets first handle on every game across major sports to make smarter bets. Get exclusive betting splits through Selection Sunday for free. VSiN.com/championship week. Everyone loves the betting splits. VSiN.com/champ week.
Yep, conference tournament odds are up next. We will share the numbers and the paths some of these teams have to get to the title game with. That's coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, here we go. Conference title odds. And we'll talk about some of the brackets. Beginning in the Big 12, Nick Bogdanovich last hour, longtime Vegas odds maker, told us they took a sharp bet on Houston plus 110 to win this thing. They are the 1 seed. They ran through the entire conference. They are looking at the winner of West Virginia, TCU, Colorado. Because TCU, Colorado, they play tomorrow. The winner of that game will get West Virginia. Houston will probably coast into the semifinals. Huh? Right?
Are you having a good time looking at the brackets?
Oh, I mean, I think some of these games are going to be incredible.
Yeah, like the SEC.
Oh, it's nuts.
Wednesday. South Carolina, Arkansas, and Texas Vandy start the tournament.
Sure. So how about this then? The quarterfinals of the Big 12. BYU I saw as high as 14-1. If chalk holds here against Iowa State.
Yes.
Iowa State is plus 650 in that neighborhood.
Much better off with the rollover parlay.
Yeah, because they'd have to go through the winner of Oklahoma State, Cincinnati, then BYU, then Houston, and then play whoever would be in the title game. That's a 4-game rollover parlay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to bet Iowa State, do it that way. Bet them on the money line of the first game and then roll over everything that you have on that bet into the game, too, if you like them. That's going to pay out more than a future bet on them.
Want any part of Kansas?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No. How about Arizona, Texas Tech to meet in the semifinals?
Yes.
You take that?
That could happen. That'd be good.
I don't have a bet in that conference yet.
Nope.
The ACC, unfortunately, super weak. But I will say this. On the bottom of the bracket, in the semifinals on Friday, let's hope that we get Louisville and Clemson. Both those teams are around 7-1 to win the conference.
You're right. Sorry. And I want Duke, Carolina in the other semi. And Carolina must win that game. You cannot put a team in the tournament that is 1-11 against quad ones.
I hear you.
And the same thing goes for Xavier. I know they had a guy out, but they're 1-9 against quad ones. Can't do it. That's unacceptable. And then they got run out again on Saturday. So winning those first 2 games isn't going to do anything for them.
And by the way, I don't want to hear about a close loss to Duke potentially. That's a reason to put them in the tournament.
That's another one.
We better not hear anybody say they had the lead in the second half, put them in the tournament. I'd lose my mind over something like that.
Right.
In the SEC, this is just absolutely bonkers because Auburn's plus 150, Florida's plus 325, Bama's in the 4-1 range, Tennessee is 5, and then it totally drops off. But do you have any interest in a team like Kentucky or A&M?
Yes, A&M.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Because those two teams have to play in the second round. They don't get a bye into the quarterfinals. So A&M's path, let me see here, I got it right in front of me. They are going to play the winner of Texas Vandy. And if they win that game, they get Tennessee. And then if they win that game, they probably get Auburn there. It'd be the winner of the Auburn, Ole Miss, Arkansas, South Carolina pod. This is just crazy.
Yeah. Like Missouri could do it, but you're only getting 25-30-1, and they're the 7. So you might have to play Miss State, Florida, Bama, and Auburn.
Yeah, so again, that might be a better rollover parlay, actually, with that team and how many games they have to play. I do think, and again, this would be like Oklahoma. Who do they have?
They play Oklahoma. They play Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia
on Wednesday night. If they win, they get Kentucky. If they win that, they play Bama.
Like that's a solid first round game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's in. Yeah.
So would Kentucky with the win over that team, like they can play with all these teams in the SEC, but can they put together enough where they'd actually make a run into the semifinals or the title game? They'd have to go through the winner of that spot, which they probably will do. Then they have to play Bama. They can hang with Bama. Then they probably have to play Florida if chalk holds here. I don't know. I'm trying to
You can't discount or rule out anything. NC State last year, like what were there? 6 bid thieves? The Duquesne story?
Yeah.
There were a bunch of teams that came out of nowhere.
Also, I wonder. Like this is fun to talk about. But remember last year, Auburn won the SEC tournament. They went in as a 4 seed against Yale, and people were talking about them. Watch out. Broom's phenomenal. Pearl, as like a day to prepare, is going to be difficult in the tournament. And this team, the way that they were playing, can make a really, really deep run. They lost in round 1. So will any team here say, we're okay if we don't win the whole thing? If we get bounced in our first or second game, that's not the be-all, end-all, because rather than playing like 4 or 5 meat grinders, that might be better for us next week.
I don't think Auburn can do that anymore. You could piss away the number 1 overall seed now.
By the way, Duke, when we talked about that on Friday, they were plus 950. Have you seen the latest?
What is it?
Plus 190.
There you go. I said there was a case for that. That's right. So that's something to look at, too. I don't think Florida can't afford a loss. They got to lock up that other 1 seed.
But that's can't afford a loss where?
I would say right away, or if they beat Missouri, that should be good enough. Even if you lose to Alabama in the semis, that's okay.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what if that happens and Tennessee wins the whole thing? Or what if Tennessee beats Florida in the SEC title game? Is Tennessee the 4th one?
No. I think it's still going to be Florida.
Maybe Florida at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
That's not a big deal. So you played each other 3 times and you went 2-1.
Well, I'm just wondering what the committee would think about that.
Yeah.
Have you done anything yet with the Mountain West?
That is wide open. I can't pick a winner. I don't think it's bad value for the UNLV or Reno based on their path. UNLV the 6, Nevada the 7, but that's a weak bottom of the bracket, which I know Colorado State's playing well, but if UNLV can upset Utah State, who now needs it, Utah State better not lose that game now.
Mm-hmm.
But likely the late game will be the 3-6 Utah against UNLV, and then Nevada in the 2-7 takes on Colorado State. UNLV on their home floor in the semis. In an 8:45 game against Colorado State, winning that to go to the title, and maybe you get an upset there too.
By the way, shop around.
That could happen, yeah.
Yeah, I saw as low as 12-1 on UNLV, as high as 20-1 on a team like that. So books will post different numbers on most of these teams.
What do you think?
I think Colorado State super dangerous. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the way that they're playing with that guy as the head coach.
Yep. Even though they're the 2 seed, they're probably going to have to go to the final though. Lenardi's got them last four. There's last four out, the next four out. That's Colorado State.
No, I think they can win this whole thing. Look at this now. They're down to plus 350 at DraftKings. You know what? I'm going to look because I think I saw a plus 550 in Colorado State. If that still exists, I have to bet that.
Right.
I'm going to have to. And in the Big Ten, the 4 teams with automatic buys into Friday, Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, and Michigan. I think you're burning money if you bet the Wolverines. They are currently listed here at DraftKings at 12-1. Here's why. Michigan finished 14-6 in the Big Ten. They had a negative point differential. This is a good tweet from Jared Benson. Not normal at all. Michigan is the first Division I team to win 70% of its conference games, but post a negative scoring differential in league play since Northern Iowa in 1983-84. That was the Association of Mid-Continent Universities, now the Summit League. That's one of the best trivia questions that you're ever going to hear, but I can't get there with the Wolverines.
Yep, I'm with you. And I like Oregon and Altman, but they're seed. I mean, again, you'll be better off with the rollover parlay considering what they have to do to be in position just to make a deep run.
Where are you at with Maryland?
I like Maryland, but the price is no good. Because you're going to have to, again, you're playing quality teams, and you'll be better over. 4-1 plus 450, no good.
Sure.
Here's what I mentioned earlier with Nick Bogdanovich. When the ACC wrapped up play, they played 180 conference games, none matching teams ranked by the AP. First time since 1967. Meanwhile, 43 of 144 SEC league games have been ranked versus ranked. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why it's going to be. Look, I mean, going back to that number 1 overall seed number that we talked about at Duke plus 950, that's all narrative compared to anything else. I mean, even if Duke goes on and rolls through the ACC tournament and Auburn loses their game 1, I can argue that Auburn's resume is still clearly better than Duke's.
16 quad 1 wins.
100%.
Yeah, right.
And
I could come back and say head to head, but that's
one game.
I know. Yeah,
one game, not a full season.
Yep.
So I mean,
I take your side. Yep.
But it says Duke on their jersey, and people have fallen for this for 40 years somehow. So that's why maybe that plus 950 was worth a bet.
And the biggest lie you're going to hear after Sunday is we don't look at the teams, we just look at the resumes, and we don't look at conference affiliation either. About they already have 12, 13 teams, and I agree with a lot of people saying this. Like no league should get 13, 14 teams.
That's a lot.
Especially if you're 5, 6, 7, 8 games under 500 in league play. You're not great at betting every sport? Let Rhythm help. The best bettors use data to get ahead, so put AI to work for you. Rhythm is an app that helps you build personalized betting models, analyze trends, and make sharper bets for every game. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or looking for an edge on all these teams and 300-plus teams, Rhythm has you covered with AI-backed projections and insights. Free 7-day trial. Download the app or visit rhythm.com, RITHMM, rhythm.com. Free 7-day trial. Predict, play, dominate.
All right. From my understanding of this, it wasn't even a bad beat. It was highway robbery. Lou Finocchairo joins the program to discuss next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Lou Finocchairo joined the program on Friday. We went down the entire card in the UFC with his best bets. And one of the fights was Marshall versus Santos. And it is my understanding that a bad beat doesn't even really qualify here. That doesn't do the fight justice overall, Pauly. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
It's highway robbery from my understanding. And Lou Finocchairo pops on the program now. He's on the progressive guest line. You had a great card overall. But can you explain why this decision was so bad by the judges, Lou?
Well, it doesn't take that experienced a person to be able to watch two gentlemen fight. And if you do it for a passion or for a living or just for a pastime, most of the time you'll see who won. This was a competitive fight that the young man Marshall won surely the first round. The second round, I could easily see going to the young man Santos, who made a reaction. And then the third round, clearly, at least in my judging, went to the young man Marshall. Now, yes, I did have bets on him. So people will say that can cloud your judging. Okay, be that as it may. However, when there are questionable decisions like this, the first thing I do is go to MMA Decisions, a webpage that'll show you that the people, at least the press people sitting ringside, cage side, will give their rendering on how they see the decision. If I believe it's one way and I'm adamant about it, I can check that webpage. And if I see that the press is 50-50, maybe I need to look at it again. In this case, for this fight, there were 13 press people that scored the fight, and everyone had it for the young man. Marshall is really just a sickening case of bad judging, and what it does to the kid, it's so discouraging to this young man. He changed camps, he did everything right, he went out there and he earned the victory, and meanwhile they gave it to the wrong man. It's unfortunate. These things happen. If I had a nickel for every time this has happened to me in the last 45 years, I'd be Warren Buffett, for crying out loud. It's just part of the game, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I would say like the live betting odds, though, right?
That's right. That tells the story.
Yeah, it does, right?
Usually the live betting odds tell the story, but if you're a gambler like me sitting there watching these lines in between rounds, there's surely a lag in live betting. I'm sure the basketball players and the people that are live betting other sports will tell you the same. But there's a lag. They can only do, and they can only react so much. That being said, I do think that a decent barometer in the middle of the third round of a 3-round fight that's going to decision, that you can tend to trust those live betting odds, and they were obtuse as well.
That's right, as high as 13-1. Does this vary by state, or are there just shenanigans all the time in this sport, or is there one state that sticks out?
Oh, no, this is a statewide phenomenon, Paul, and that's because the UFC, unfortunately, has to live under the umbrella that is state fight commissions, and those are all umbilical to the worst word, the most vile word I could mention on live TV, and that's boxing. And that boxing filth permeates down into somebody's cousin's uncle's brother is now a judge, and he makes his living or a supplemental income by being a judge for X, Y, and Z state. And in many cases, these state commissions assign people. They're not elected, and they're not put there based on merit or the understanding of the sport.
So, and you've given this out several times on the show, to win by split decision, and those pay well. Those are high. So if you're looking at maybe over 2.5 minus 250 or higher, is that a way to attack it? Maybe I can come back and take a 6, 7, 8-1, something like that, depending how big the dog is. When you're talking about,
of course, and that's a great observation, and you've seen me do that here in the show is what I try and predict. What you're going to see me do more, because when I see these high 2.5 over fights that tend to go to decision, maybe rather than predict majority or split decision, I'm going to start using that points handicap, because really the way I used it for Marshall was I really felt strong we were going to get his best effort. And even if he lost a split decision because he fought his rear end off and did a great job, I walk away a winner, and I can live with that. Little did I know that he would get the 3-0 from one judge. It didn't matter at that point what happened because the points was a winner. So I'm going to start using that points handicap when I can try and set my watch to a good fighter in a fight line to go over 2.5 heavy. I'm going to use that points handicap and try and get plus money that way. I may not get the 3-1 or the plus 190 on the fighter that I would have originally gotten taking him straight up, but I insulate myself against that judging.
Good observation. Yes. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Lou Finocchairo, he's on the Progressive Guest Line. His write-ups for the UFC card are always on VSiN.com for all of the cards that we have. How many times do you think on an annual basis does that happen, though, where you have a $13 favorite near the end, live betting, that kind of thing, and, okay, look at this, he lost?
Last year, it happened to me about 4 or 5 times. I had a funny year last year. Part of it was me but part of it were some funny happenings. And it's not only a bad decision. It's how about your underdog is out there painting the other guy's fence, and then they do a kick, a low blow kick, and the other fighter knows he's getting his fence painted, and he stays on the ground, and they call it a no decision. I mean, I had 2 of those last year. You make you want to jump off a bridge.
Oh man,
that's allowed. If he can just say embellish the injury.
Those circumstances presented themselves, whether it was early second round or whatever the fashion of the circumstance was. That's how the fight ended, and it was my guy that was good. It was really just very disheartening, but it's part of the business. We've done this. We're all big boys. We've done this a long time. You just got it. All it does is, make you a little bit more callous and a little bit more cold as you try and forge ahead and find winners.
It's like a LeBron-esque flop like they do inside the octagon.
They're going to give you all the time you need to recover. I mean,
You're also big into the NHL this time of year. It's a small card tonight, but do you have a best bet at all?
I couldn't find anything tonight, guys, and I'll tell you why. I'm mired in playoff hockey, but I found one tomorrow, and I'd take it right now. Buffalo is on a West Coast trip right now, and they're facing, let me make sure I'm giving you the correct teams here. The Islanders are on a West Coast swing, and their third stop tomorrow's at the Kings. They struggle scoring. They gotta go home after being on the road a week. This is a bad spot for the Islanders. And when the Kings have it their way, they're gonna beat you 2-0 or 2-1. So this under 5.5 is already -120 at DraftKings. I mention it now because I'd take it now. And I also looked at under 4.5. That's +210. That's what I'll give out. It's a game tomorrow, and that's how I try and look at hockey games for unders, and that's very difficult to try and accomplish when it's regular season hockey.
It's good, though. I like it. Looking at alt totals in the NHL with Lou Finocchairo. Creative. Fan of that. Lou, thanks for the time. Sorry about that loser that ultimately came on your card, but the other winners were there. Obviously, you had a great card overall, but that one really, really stung.
Thanks for the UFC support, guys. Doing a great job, and good luck to everybody.
Thanks, pal. There you go. He was on the Progressive Guest Line.
What a day. What a weekend. Cole could be out for the year, and it doesn't even make the card today with the show rundown. Wild.
Can I give you a rundown quickly, though, of the Yankees, as long as you brought it up?
Uh-huh.
I would actually say this is this run is worse than the Dallas Mavericks. What a tweet. John from Maspeth. He sounds like a caller in the WFAN.
Yeah, dog.
Jacoby Ellsbury, $68 million to not play for 3 years. Luis Severino was paid $53 million to start 44 games in 5 seasons.
Oh.
Aaron Hicks was paid $30 million to be released early. DJ LeMahieu is getting paid $45 million for a negative WAR season and on pace to be released. Giancarlo Stanton is getting paid $86 million to miss the majority of the next 3 years. Garrett Cole is getting paid $180 million to be damaged goods and a shell of his former self. Carlos Rodon is getting paid $162 million because he had consecutive 5+ WAR seasons before his contract, and then he followed that up with a combined 1.1 WAR in his 2 seasons with the Yankees. That is difficult to pull off. I mean, I think they're almost telling the Dallas Mavericks, hold on to my bottle of tequila here, because it's going to get ugly. I mean, and the Red Sox odds, for example, after this Cole news, they were plus 450. I'm staring at it for a week. I never bet it. The best you can find right now on the Red Sox is like plus 360. Is that 90 cent change? Is that still worth it on the Red Sox?
I think so, yeah. Some places moved the win total 4 or 5 wins. Dropped it.
Incredible.
The guy's out a year and a half.
Yeah, we'll get into a college basketball and the results from the blackjack tournament this weekend at Circa next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, some more news. Day one, NFL free agency. Good job here by the Indianapolis Colts. They signed cornerback Charvarius Ward away from the 49ers. Looks like he is going to be getting a 3-year deal worth about $60 million. Signing bonus there, about $35. They also signed safety Cam Bynum. So some good moves there for their secondary to help out that squad. And there's a trade that happened within the last few minutes. The Eagles and the Browns have agreed to a deal. What do you think about this, Pauly? The Eagles traded quarterback Kenny Pickett to Cleveland for a 2025 fifth-round pick and quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
A little DTR package in there? I don't get that. That guy cannot be in the league.
Well,
he can't be in the league.
It had to be just, okay, you're going to get a fifth-round pick. You're taking DTR off our hands. Deal? Okay, deal. We'll take Kenny Pickett. Yeah. Is there a chance that the Browns now, because they, again, gave $40 million per year to Myles Garrett, they're picking number 2 in the draft, do they say, screw it, Pickett's going to be our starting quarterback. Go somewhere else, number 2 overall?
I hope not, but they're capable of anything. The owner got talked into Johnny Manziel from a homeless guy. So anything's possible. Didn't have that on my bingo card.
Would you hate them going Travis Hunter?
No, I wouldn't. No, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, because again, what if the Giants trade up to number 1 overall? They take Cam Ward. The Titans in that deal would move to number 3 behind the Browns, so the Browns are starting their number 2 on the board.
Yeah,
I think they go Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter potentially.
Mm-hmm. You can't you can't go Sanders there either.
No.
Yeah.
I think you see this, by the way.
You already had your chance. You blew it. You should have traded Garrett. Go ahead.
The mock drafts. Look, I mean, I know some of these people who do the mocks, and they're really nice human beings. What are we doing? Putting together a mock draft where you have like a couple of trades near the top, and then you have, I can't even believe I'm going to say this out loud, Ward 1, Sanders 2, Jackson Dart number 3.
Oh, man.
How does the editor even say, you know what, this is cool, we're going to get clicks?
Oh, man.
Now, if it happens to go that way, fine, I'll eat it and admit that I'm a complete jackass. But you can't even possibly put that into a mock draft. No. You can't do it.
Well, I'm out when you have all these trades in the top 10.
As soon as I see one right away, I'm done.
I'm out. All right, 2 bids tonight. One of them I'm not going to watch. It's unfortunate. The Southern Conference.
Oh, don't say that.
They did it all weekend on ESPN. This is what's so great about college. No, it's not. The 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4 all lost. It's a 5 against a 6 tonight in the championship game. They just played 3 months for nothing. And again, anyone can have a bad game or a bad half. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate this happened. It's Furman taking money. I agree with it. The 5 seed against the 6 seed Wofford. Total chaos in the Southern League. The winner is in the tournament. And a good one in the Sun Belt. Remember, there was a 4-way tie. Arkansas State was technically the 4 seed, even though they were the favorites. And they taken money against Troy. And again, Arkansas State blew out Memphis, hung in there against some of the big boys, and a good matchup tonight to start in a 4 o'clock Pacific in the Sun Belt. That's a good game, and the Red Wolves have a good team.
And we have 2 games tipping off, by the way, the top of the hour. Delaware is playing Towson. Towson, I'm looking globally, open up as low as 5. It might have been a little bit shorter than that, actually.
They have to win this game.
They're up to 6.5.
They got to win this game. Delaware's a 12 seed. They're atrocious. They only won 5 games in league. They are several games under 500. The winner is in the title game. Towson, the 1 seed. Hope they can get it done. They better get it done. I don't want a 12 seed in the title game. And the fact that Towson then will meet the winner of Charleston, NC Wilmington, that's a great semifinal tonight and a great title game potentially tomorrow.
Sure. Well, Towson did sweep Delaware for what it's worth.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Again, people will always sit here and tell you, God, tricky to beat a team 3 times. Well, they're a 6.5-point favorite tonight, and the market's telling you that 5 was too short in that game.
You with there on Wilmington? Wilmington was the favorites to win the league, and then you got Charleston coming off an overtime game, which they're lucky. They are playing with house money. They were down 2 with 20 seconds, and Monmouth had the ball. They got a steal, laid it in, went to overtime, won the game. Did you see that finish? Monmouth's down 3 with 10 seconds. They're passing it around like they didn't know the score.
Yeah, it was hot potato time.
Yeah, and the kid laid it in at the buzzer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, you lost by 1. Congrats. People are looking around like, what the hell are you doing?
Yep, they lost track of time, the score, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
So Wilmington has 25 wins on the year. This is pretty impressive in that league. Charleston has 24. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of wins to be playing at this point.
League.
Yeah,
you missed a horizon. What do you think?
I'm mad at myself for missing the number on. And I looked at it too. I'm like, 2? Morris opened up 2 against Oakland.
Oakland with the upset, right? They reseed, so they're a 6 taking on the 1. Again, hopefully Morris gets it done and moves on to the title game. And Cleveland State, the Vikings against the Penguins. Cleveland State, Youngstown State. And we'll see if form can hold here. It's been chaos in this league going back 4 or 5 years in a row.
Well, and by the way, this is one of those tournaments. It started last week. 4 games were played on Thursday, and now they wait to pick it back up and play the semis here tonight. And, yeah, Oakland, as a big dog, they beat Milwaukee outright. And Robert Morris blasted Wright State. I mean, Oakland 16 and 17 on the year.
I know.
Robert Morris is 24 and 8. They opened up 2.
I know. Yep. It's
I hate myself for missing that number.
Sure. I lean Portland State tonight. The Vikings swept Idaho. Do with that what you want, but they were comfortable wins, and now they're laying 4.5 tonight in the quarters of the Big Sky. The 1 and 2 seeds have already advanced. And time for the G-Bank best bet. Let's go out here. Too much here. St. Mary's a hell of a team. Great program. 19.5 here against Pepperdine, who, I don't know, one of the craziest runs you're going to see. Friday, they're playing Portland. Portland was laying 1.5. I had them. Pepperdine is down 14 with 12 minutes left. They run them out the rest of the way. Then they're getting 10.5 against Oregon State, win that game. And then they're catching 15.5 last night against Santa Clara, and they win that game. So now it's up to 20. But based on, I'm taking Pepperdine. You can't.
I like the under.
Okay, fair. We'll do both. But St. Mary's just win, get ready for Gonzaga tomorrow in the title game. It's also St. Mary's takes the air out of the ball.
Sure.
So it's this new lease on life, and hey, we have nothing to lose. No one expected us to be here. We had a lousy season. And as Nick said, still 225 to 1 to win the damn thing, even though they're in the semifinals. I just think it's a big ask for St. Mary's to win by 21 points in this game when the objective is don't get hurt. Let's just win the game and get ready for tomorrow night and be healthy against Gonzaga.
They played in a 16-day stretch in January, and St. Mary's beat them at home 71-41. They came back 2 weeks after that and won at Pepperdine 74-50. I think the total is too high in this game. So there you go. You're going to go Pepperdine. I'll go with the under tonight.
All right. Brought to you by G-Bank, official bank of VEASAN. Up in the ante with a $750 bonus with the new G-Bank Visa Signature Card. And new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from account opening get a $250 bonus. And if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of account opening, you get another $500 bonus. So potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now, VEASAN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions apply. And
okay.
Gonzaga, 14.5 against San Francisco, as Nick mentioned, a key injury with the Dons, and they beat Washington State in an entertaining game last night and covered.
I think they might be laying too many points tonight, too.
I think you're right,
Gonzaga.
too. The power rating's out of whack, right?
Yep.
This was 14.5 at home not that long ago, and they won by 11, and it was tight at halftime.
All right, so you were busy and had prior obligations, so you could not be in this blackjack tournament this weekend at Circa. 16 people got invited, and based on the ultimate chip count after 4 rounds, 21 hands each round, you got a pick to bet on a team to win the national title, and it's just a draft. So once one team is picked, you can no longer take that team. I finished second overall with a chip count. Kelvin Tran finished first, and he was playing great blackjack and caught some great cards. Tip of the cap to him. He deserved to win the tournament with a $20,000 free bet from Derek Stevens, Mike Pullman, everybody here at Circuit. He took Duke at plus 315. He had a proxy make his pick, a local here, and he told me that originally to take the winner of the Alabama-Auburn game.
Oh.
But then changed his mind because he really, really likes Duke.
Okay.
So I was picking second.
All right, we'll take this through this. Walk us through it.
So I was actually, a couple things here. The exact opposite end of the spectrum. For 36 hours, I told myself Clemson.
Wow.
Because I like to go for bombs, and with the $15,000 free bet at 65 to 1, that ticket's $990,000. I don't know if they can get higher than a 4 seed, though. So then I told myself, if Duke's there, I'm probably going to go them. They weren't. I took Florida plus 725. I absolutely love this team.
It's like a 1 seed, too.
I think so, yep.
Yep.
And with their wins going on the road, what they've done in the SEC blew me away. And year to date, I love them. So Alabama went third, then Texas Tech. I love that pick.
Great
30 to 1 for $9,000 there. And then if you're JVT, you're picking fifth and Auburn's on the board. I can't blame the guy.
Sure. Yeah. And I like Stormy getting Michigan State.
11th overall.
Yeah. Going to be a 2 seed probably.
Yeah.
Who'd Dr. Gebhardt get?
Illinois.
Okay. They
he
wanted
was
St. John's, but they weren't there. All
right. Yeah, he was picking deep in the draft.
Okay.
Pat 40 on the program next. Is there a team at the very top, like top 4, top 5, he doesn't trust?
From emails to reports and project proposals, it's hard to meet the demands of today's competing priorities without some help. Grammarly is the essential AI communication assistant that boosts your productivity at work so you can get more of what you need done faster. Just a few clicks can tailor your tone and writing so you come across exactly as you intend. Get time back to focus on your high-impact work. Download Grammarly for free at Grammarly.com/podcast.